Welcome back to ABC News Live coverage of this crucial midterm election. You can see the tallies there. All the Republicans need is a gain of 1 seat in the Senate to take back control. Again, in the House, they need 5 seats, and Democrats would be happy with a 50-50 Senate again, where the vice president is the tie-breaking vote. We'll see at the end of the night where this math stands. We've been telling you all night long we're tracking 36 gubernatorial races across this country, and we've got some results coming in, including the key race out of Massachusetts tonight. The retiring moderate Republican Governor Charlie Baker, very popular in Massachusetts. The Democrat has won that race, making history tonight. Maura Healey, the Attorney General. She is the first lesbian governor, the first woman elected governor of Massachusetts. Martha Raddatz standing by on Maura Healey here. We'll have more on her in a moment. In Arkansas, this is a name you will know very well. The Republican winning there, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, now the governor of Arkansas. Cecilia John, you worked with Sarah Huckabee, asking her questions at the White House during the Trump years. She's now the governor. She follows in her father's footsteps there in Arkansas. Arkansas Senate tonight, John Bozeman has been seeking a third term re-elected. He'll go back to the Senate. In Kansas, the Senate winner there is Senator Jerry Moran, seeking his third term, headed back to the Senate. South Dakota tonight, John Thune had sought a 4th term projected winner there. Not a surprise, though he was one of 3 incumbent Republicans. The former President Trump, did not endorse in this race. He wins anyway, very popular in his state. In Alabama tonight, Katie Britt, the former chief of staff, by the way, to the retiring Senator Richard Shelby. She now goes from chief of staff to the senator herself. Katie Britt will serve Alabama in the Senate. In Oklahoma tonight, the only state with 2 Senate races, James Langford reelected for a 2nd full term, and Congressman Mark Wayne Mullen will now serve as a senator for Oklahoma. He's been elected there as well. And in Vermont tonight, Peter Welch looking to trade his role in Congress to head to the Senate instead. He has won his race, the 8-term congressman, now the senator from Vermont. We're here with the entire powerhouse political team. I want to bring it right over to Martha Raddatz, who's been tracking. You and I both covered Massachusetts politics for many years at WCVB, and Maura Healey is a big story in Massachusetts.
It's a big story because, as you know, David, the governor there has been Republican for most of the past 30 years. But Maura Healey, the projected winner there, she will become, as you said, the first elected female governor and also the first openly gay governor in Massachusetts. But let me just tell you a little bit about her opponent, Jeff Deal. He continued to tie himself to Donald Trump. Donald Trump lost by 36 points in Massachusetts. As you know, David, it is a deep, deep red state. Maura Healey, an AG, sued Trump many, many, many times, about 100 times. This is my favorite quote from her, though. She loved being AG, but her second favorite job was a cocktail waitress at a beach casino. I can relate.
We can relate. The part we can't relate to is she played, I think, for Harvard basketball, right, and played overseas for a short stint in Europe.
She played very, and
we
in
can't
fact,
relate there.
we can't relate there. I definitely can't. I have no sports analogies this evening, okay? Everybody else going to have to take
But it is interesting. It is a deep blue state, but they have had a history of electing Republican governors.
Mitt Romney.
Yeah. Mitt Romney from that state as well.
Mitt Romney. And Charlie Baker was a hugely, hugely popular governor there. And, you know, the opponent the Republicans put up basically didn't have a chance.
Cecilia and John, what did you think about Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Do you picture her becoming governor?
I mean, look, she kind of grew up in the governor's mansion. Her father, Mike Huckabee, was governor of Arkansas. It's quite astounding to see her go from a relatively junior person on the Trump campaign, junior person in the press office at first, rise up to be the press secretary and become governor. I mean, she is you know, a star that was made by Donald Trump in terms of, you know, Republican politics, but in Arkansas, she was already obviously very well known.
And he stuck with her for a long time. He was a fan of Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
And she stuck with him. The ads that have come out of her campaign have been fascinating to watch. There is, there have been love letters to Donald Trump and highlighting her time in the White House. You see shots of her walking with Ivanka Trump and the entire first family, and her in the White House with former President Trump. So no surprise there. And the campaign, frankly, has been no surprise in terms of the issues that she has focused on. A lot of kitchen table issues, a lot of you know, things like school rights, particularly, and COVID rights and things like that.
All right, Cecilia, John, thanks. She's a name that the country will know from the Trump years, taking the questions, the reporters in that room, the 2 of you included. Real quick before we go to break, Rick, you've got an update on Georgia at this hour?
Yeah, we've seen a lot more votes starting to come in. Raphael Warnock has taken a lead over Herschel Walker, still only about a little less than 2/3 of the votes. It's about 100,000 votes in counting. something, though, that Brian Kemp has that Herschel Walker is missing. Those split-ticket voters looming very large. We're starting to see a lot more come in Atlanta and the suburbs. In all of these, almost all of these places, we're seeing Raphael Warnock outperform the benchmark, say a little bit ahead of where he needs to go. The key for him, this is where the Democratic voters are. I'm going to be keyed into some of these suburbs north of the city. Some of these places are Republican, but we're seeing Raphael Warnock cut into the kind of margins, even in more Republican areas, people leaving that name blank or splitting their ticket.
It's really interesting. Only 64% of the vote in, but this tracks with what Governor Christie was hearing from folks on the ground there, that Brian Kemp is outperforming what Herschel Walker is doing among Republicans, and that this could be a state where we're talking about split-ticket voters.
And it has an impact, at least now with the early returns. Look at that number, 51% for Raphael Warnock, based on what we have so far. If you go over to the governor's race, we see just about the exact opposite. Brian Kemp north of that 50% mark. And of course, in Georgia, 50% matters because that's the only way you avoid a runoff.
So we possibly could be facing a runoff if we don't get 50+1, right? But at least the runoff is just, what, 4 weeks from now instead of what it was the last time we did this?
Mercifully, it's 1 month instead of 2 months this time around. But look, if control of the Senate is on the line, it's going to be a very big deal. And I've talked to people in both parties the last couple of days who feel like it's almost an inevitability. Right now, Herschel Walker a little north of that, or a little south of where he needs to go to avoid it. Brian Kemp a little north of it. We're going to see these numbers change a lot, though. Again, only about 65% of the expected vote.
Well, you were telling us for many nights now, Georgia, 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 and here we are, you at the board in front of Georgia. We have news. Governor Jared Polis of Colorado has been reelected governor there. The news coming in just as I was talking to Rick over here again. Governor Polis reelected in Colorado. More coming up right after the break. More polls closing. We'll be right back.